Sergio,
How you doing, Jeff?
so nice to meet you. Everybody has nice things about you.
That's great.
So let's just take a second and introduce yourself. Tell us who you are and where you are.
Okay, so my name is Sergio Avendaño. I'm the owner and the winemaker of Trabun wines here in the Cachapoal Valley in Chile.
Hmm.
And right now we are in the vineyard. So as far as we go, I will be showing you the whole state.
Awesome.
Actually, well, it's autumn. It's very cold. It should be around 50 Fahrenheit.
Know
We
your
work
parents?
in Celsius, so yes. So it's not like you look that you're pretty good over there with the sun.
Really sunny and warm here.
Yeah, that's a good thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. hmm
So
So yeah, tell
so
me.
tell me what's your story? How did you get into wine and to get the job you have now? Did you grow up in a winery, your family, or you went to school? What did you do?
Actually, totally the opposite. I'm from Santiago. That's like the capital and the main city. So I grew up over there. Then I went into university and studied agronomy.
Oh, okay.
And I wanted to become a physician, but at some point I start like with nature, all these beautiful relationships. So I decided to enter the agronomy school,
Hmm.
and over there I start like grew my passion for wine. Actually, the and because it's something that, how do you say, with wine, it's something that you can tell a story in the future.
Hmm.
So that's what I love about wine, and that's why I enter agronomy and then specialize in viticulture and enology as a
So
career.
So you came about it from agronomy, wanting to grow something, and the vine seemed more appealing rather than going and drinking wine and falling in love with wine.
I'm a biologist, so I love like growing plants and everything and checking out all the chemistry and all the relationships between the soil, the weather, the plant. More than rather be for us as a winemaker, the tasting is pretty much a tool so as to achieve what we're looking for. But for me, it's much more important the work over here in the vineyard and trying to project the vineyards into many years from now. For example, think that over there in the United States, you're going through my Syrah 13 to the 14. That's almost 6 years, 7 years ago. And to tell that story, what was happening with me here in 2014 or 13, it's something I would like to say, and that's why I love more this part to be in the vineyard and cultivating the grapes.
Yeah, I was talking to a sommelier in the Finger Lakes, and it used to be a lot of fruit farming up there, and really in the end, what it comes down to, it's another way to take a fruit that's grown in the summer, make something with it that lasts all year long, for food, but for wine, it's just so much more nuanced and so much longer. And it to really look at the basics, I think, puts things in perspective.
Yes. Well, that's the main thing. It's to project something and to tell the story. That's what I love about it. Or else it's just farming. I like farming, but if you can tell the story with farming, it's even better.
Yeah, for sure.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah.
Sergio, can you start from a little bit back up for me? Because in my restaurant, it's mostly old world stuff. So I have not had to pay attention to Chile so much. So can you give for consumers, because there's definitely wine pros and wine nerds here, but a lot of just wine lovers. Can you give a background of the history in Chile and where it is now for wine?
Uh, for wine, I think, well, all started with the Spanish colonies here in South America, and around 500 years ago. So there's a lot of tradition in Chile with wine. At some point, that tradition was most for the, how do you say, the lower range wine, if you can say like that. But nowadays, it's really big. There's a lot of wineries. There's a lot of different terroirs to explore and to get different kind of wines. So I think we're doing pretty good. We would love to do much more better than that. I know that it's difficult with all the European wines over there. They are awesome wines, but over here, people tends to think that it's a new world thing, in the but not in tradition. We have a lot of tradition from the early days, and there's a lot of people making wine from years and years ago.
Mhm.
So it's coming big here. It's an important thing. It's our country is it's not based in wine, but usually it's pretty well known for some soccer players and wine. If you talk about Chile, that's the two major things. So yeah, it's an important thing right now.
So then, tell me about your winery and well, what your job is at the winery, your role there, and how it came about, and the history of the winery, and what wines you make.
Okay, so I started the this was from scratch. This is a family property that used to have fruit plants,
Okay.
almonds, peaches, apples. And after I finished my degree in enology, I went overseas. I did some vintages in South Africa, in France, in New Zealand, and of course, United States, in Sonoma County. And after that, I moved back here and from Santiago, went and lived into the farm. And little by little, I started like changing all those fruit plants into vines. I started with that's it's a pity because if you can see,
Yeah.
I'm gonna show you a little bit around.
Uh
It's very cloudy, but all the on the back are mountains, 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 and we're surrounded by the mountains.
huh.
So it's the perfect weather for me to grow up the vines.
Uh
And I started with the Syrah. That was the first plantation on 2005.
But so the
Uh,
land was in
hmm?
your family, or what's the history
Sorry.
of the property? Is it your? It's in your family?
Yeah, it's in my family. For about now it's should be around 30 to 35 years.
Okay.
Uh, but all my family lives in Santiago. They I'm the only one living over here, and I took charge of the whole property and start the plantation of the vineyards in my own terms. So I said, okay, you know what? You don't like farming. I'm gonna go over there. I'm gonna farm the land, but I'm gonna do some wines over there with my own label, and everybody was agree. So that how everything started. And started little by little. Nowadays we have 22 hectares planted. We started with just 6 of Syrah. I choose Syrah because of a little bit the weather here. Autumn is it's very cold. I have to say that Requinoa, the locations where we are, I consider it a cold climate area. Nowadays, it's I don't know if it's that cold because with the global warming thing, we can talk about that about the picking dates that has been changing quite a lot. But that's why I started with Syrah. It's very cold. We're surrounded by mountains. We have some beautiful winds blowing in the afternoon to cool down the grapes. So, so in that sense, I can wait a little bit longer in autumn to pick the grapes
Oh, okay.
with very soft tannins and not picking too much sugar. You know that at the end that means alcohol. So all that cold thing maintains the grapes with a very good acidity and with a very alcohol level. That's what I like about this. Our soils are it's a mixture between alluvial soils, you know, that's are round rocks, as you can see over there. Let me show you a little bit. If you see this, we put all the rocks over there,
Mhm.
and that's it's mixed with some volcanic stratas.
Oh, okay.
Okay, and well, all that makes a big thing when we're talking about tannins, because they're very soft and you have like a little bit of chalky tannins
Huh?
over here, and that's what I like about our Syrah. And that was the first wine on 2008. That was my first wine, and
Sergio,
after that we. Hmm?
do you get a lot of hot days though in your hot season? You must have some very hot days.
Yes, especially in January.
Yeah.
January, it's the hottest month. I don't know if you can go to Celsius to Fahrenheit, but it's over here. It's like 34 to 35.
100 degrees.
So there are more than 100. So that's why also with this type of soil, it's very important the irrigation. Some people like not to irrigate the plants, but over here it's just very difficult to produce without water. And that's another thing that is happening right now in Chile. It's the where there's a lot water is missing quite a lot. So you need to be very efficient when it comes to produce grapes.
Huh?
It's everything changing this with the virus, with the dry season, with the hot thing. It's very difficult to produce wines right now to achieve the what I was used to do, but we're adapting.
So again, my limited experience with Chile is you see a lot of inexpensive, highly marketed, bright animal labels on in like wine shops or liquor
Uh-huh.
stores. But and I just associate a lot of Chile with these big brands, but that's not you. Can you explain why you're different and how your wines are different?
Because I made them. No,
Yeah.
no. The thing is that I think with every country that produces wine, you're always gonna have these like very cheap wines. Then you have all these other high end and wines. For me, first of all, my wines are very unique and special because I treat the vines a little bit different. My yields are very low. I work between 7 to 9 tons per hectare, and
Okay.
that's a very few amount. So you
Yeah.
concentrate much more in the on the palate. Also, I'm not used to all the time keep make the same formula. I am always like reading a little bit the weather, the season,
Okay.
what happened, and try to adapt myself and the wines to what happened that year. It's not a formula, and sometimes I get a lot of critics because one year might be a little bit different from the another one, and when people say that to me, for me, I say, okay, fantastic, you got it. That's the whole idea. I'm gonna keep the style. My style is it's very well defined, and it's defined by the terroir. But of course, the wines are gonna be showing very different from year to year because it's impossible to have the same wine every year.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So I'm going to pull up a map. Best practiced with me. Hopefully, this map shows everything. So this, let's see, it's the green. That's where you are. I can't. Beth pronounces things so beautifully. Can you tell me the name of the place you are with the proper accent?
For the valley,
Yeah.
the valley is called Cachapoal.
Okay.
So it's not that it's like Cachapoal, Cachapoal, and comes from an old native chief was called Cachapoal here.
Oh, okay.
And, okay, so when the Spanish came to this area, we're pretty close to the river. Actually, it's called Cachapoal,
Okay.
and this chief was very powerful and a little bit aggressive.
Okay.
So he was called the Mad Cachapoal.
Okay.
So and he claims that the river he owns the river. So the river was from Cachapoal,
Okay.
and because he was a little bit mad,
Uh-huh.
then the river Cachapoal is translated as crazy river.
Oh.
Okay,
Okay.
so it's meaning the river that was owned by this crazy chief, Cachapoal's river.
I love that. See, it's
Okay.
they don't you don't hear that kind of thing. So there's so many different wine regions in Chile. What makes Cachapoal different and unique?
I think that it's unique. First of all, because well, we have three different areas in Cachapoal, and every region in Chile right now has like three different areas. One is Andes, with the mountains. Then you have like in between the mountains that is it's a little bit hotter, and then you have the coastal parts of each
Okay.
valley. What I like about Cachapoal is the wines that you get from here are much more softer rather than other appellations,
Hmm.
because it's not that that cold or not that hot. Sometimes in places like Maipo or Colchagua, you can get a lot of sun, a lot of heat, and then you have like these very thick wines. I have to say that here in Cachapoal, we're in the central part, and there's a lot of good stuff because of the weather. And the main characteristic for these wines are the mid palate. That's a pretty good thing. It's very soft. My wines sometimes are are compared to some Côte d'Or wines in terms of the softness of the tannins, and happens quite a lot with my neighbors around here. We are all very happy. We're not very well known, but all the winemakers that actually live here, they love the wines they are making.
How do your wines age compared to something that's a little more high toned?
Sorry, I didn't got the last part.
How do your wines age as compared to other wines from Chile? Like,
Uh, First of all, what I do, it's I try to age them all with used oak. I don't use new oak. I love new oak in the sense that if the wine can match new oak, it's all right. But over here, the wines are very soft. So if you put like a new oak in it, I think it's gonna win the
uh-huh.
wood over the fruit. So I prefer to use to use only used oak and French. I like French oak rather than American. And the whole idea is to 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 try to get that oxygen little by little, the micro oxygenation
Mhm.
through time, so as to evolve the wine and to have the proper age. My wines usually I they rest between one and a half winter maybe. So that's like between 13 to 15 months of trying to look for the evolution rather than looking for flavors that the wood can put in it.
And then what's the optimal drinking window?
For my wines, I haven't discovered it yet.
Yeah.
I'm still tasting sometimes from time to time to just to check my 2009 or 2010s, and the wines are really looking good. I think that it's I don't want to be like, I don't know, some guys that no, that wine can last still young. It's 30 years old. I'm still young. No, I think that the window for my wines, it's around 12 12 to 13 years old. I think that they can last, and that's because of what I was telling you before about the acidity. The
Right.
natural acidity over here can make the wine age properly in the bottle for a long time.
Okay.
And we use good corks also.
That, yeah. Um, John, asking, we've already talked about your Syrah, but how is Chilean Syrah different from, say, the Rhone Valley or California or something?
Uh, well, Syrah, it's a very I don't know if the word is correct, versatile. How you pronounce it correctly?
Or versatile, but do you mean
Yeah,
for?
versatile. Yeah, so Syrah can behave very good and in pretty much every weather, but it's gonna take its own authenticity within each place. So Chilean in Chile, you can find Syrahs from the coastal area completely different
Mhm.
than Los Andes, and also different from the north to south. So actually, it's sometimes if you want to compare, we can compare, for example, the Colchagua Syrah or Maipo Syrah, maybe with a little bit of the Australian Syrah, for example, or the California Syrahs. Meanwhile, the cold climate areas can be compared to, I don't know, New Zealand maybe, or all depends. Or even though Cachapoal here pretty much with southern France.
So
So
go ahead.
no, it's
Um,
so it's not that okay. Chilean Syrah, it's gonna be like this. It's all depends on where you are. So that's what I like also about Syrah.
that's good. That's good to know, actually, because I agree with you, but I haven't really put my mind to it like that. Um, what what is your? How do you think the traveling that you did as a traveling winemaker? How do you think that prepared you for what you're doing now?
Um, I think that the most important thing is, and I think that this is very certain for all winemakers that actually travels around the world. Many of us make these flying winemaker trips for a year or two, changing seasons. And I have to say that probably we all can tell you that it's not much techniques in winemaking that we are learning. It's more about the experience and how to connect the winemaking with the people, with the terroir, with the traditions. In each country was completely different from I don't know, France, when of course it's beautiful, where you stop at 10:30 in the morning for a quick rosé drink and then keep on working a nap. South Africa is completely different. I play drums, so when we are taking samples in the vineyard, you see all the people that are scaring the birds with drums and going through the. So it's that's what it's to globalize the whole concept,
Huh?
and to be very faithful in what you're doing and where are you doing it. It's
Okay.
like you must start with your boots on. So this is the wine that I do over here in Cachapoal. I don't want to sound like a French guy or an Australian guy or a different wine. It's the wines that I'm taking over here and try to pull that out and try to people see the traditions, the people, and how the wines perform, and they're gonna see similarities, and then everybody's gonna say, okay, yes, you can taste this. This is a Cachapoal wine because when I was over there, you can see that people stops from here to here, or they drink this, or this is the type of dish or dinner that they have, and all makes sense. All makes sense. All the wines are pretty much in each country. Um, Matches the food and the wine. That's and the wine making style. That for me was very surprising.
That's awesome. Say, this is another word I can't pronounce. Requinoa?
Requinoa,
Requinoa. Tell how
requinoa.
that region different within the Cachapoal Valley.
In the Cachapoal Valley, Requinoa is the coldest part. It's the coldest part because it's a pity that the day, but you're showing over there is because it's like a big box surrounded by mountains.
Oh, okay.
So comes in the afternoon comes all the wind from the south that cools down a lot the temperature of the grapes, and in the afternoon and at night comes all the cold from Los Andes to the valley, and the temperature drops to, I don't know, if in the afternoon during summer is 34, then at night it will be 12.
Wow.
So it's a big difference, and that's what I have to say, that it's pretty much the difference between the whole area of Cachapoal. In some other parts, it's much more hotter, and the Carmeners are much better than the ones that you can get over here. Here is a pretty good thing for Syrah, some Cabernets, Malbec also. It's really good. With and that's one other thing, because that it was very cold. Everybody said I was very crazy, but I put some Sauvignon Blanc in here also. Um,
Or
and
trying.
it's a different type of Sauvignon Blanc. And now again, everybody was expecting this Casablanca New Zealand style of Sauvignon Blanc, and actually it's very different. It has different flavors, different aromas, and people it was very surprised of the results that we got here with a little bit more volume in the mouth. So it's a beautiful wine.
Nice. So you mentioned you play drums. What?
Yes.
How does that music and wine? I have my own theories about music and wine, but how does that? You have thoughts on that, I think.
Uh, all my brand is based on music.
Yeah.
Everything. Yeah. Well, I played drums since I was 13 years old. That's like my biggest passion in it. Uh, Also winemaking. So when I start my own label, you know, the work with wine, it's very exhaustive, and you need to, and we all love our job, so you can spend 13, 24 hours with the times tasting, being in the vineyard and everything. So that's very passionate for me. Drumming, it's also very passionate. So when I start the label, say, okay, I'm not gonna choose between music and wine. I'm gonna be doing both of them. That's why it's called Trabun. Trabun in the native language means gathering point or point of encounter.
Okay.
And for me, it's the reunion of wine and music.
Okay.
It's a very personal thing, and 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 with that, what I do, or how do I base music in it, is because when I'm blending, I blend thinking in a musical way. For example, if I want to make a heavy blend, I always am thinking in the drums when I play the floor tom is a boom boom, a lot of kick, not too much cymbals. So I'm thinking in a powerful wine that it's gonna full your mouth completely. And sometimes you need a lighter thing, so you when you're like with the cymbal playing a little bit. That's for me, it's a little bit like that. It's more of sensations that you're feeling, and specifically with drums. But I've been doing some pairings with wine and some songs. It's very subjective everything, but actually it's that you've been tasting wine for sure for more than a couple of years, and sometimes you see, oh, it's so heavy, this wine. It's like I don't know, a punk song, or sometimes it's a very delicate thing, and you can see, oh, here's Celine Dion like singing to me in my ear while I'm drinking this wine. So it's a little bit based on that.
I really like that. I have a thing with I taste wine and think of music too. So to be continued that conversation, either when I come to you or you have to
Of course.
hear your wine and music combinations someday. I'll get
Hmm.
I'll get hold of you for that. Before we go, about the Movi group.
Yes, I've been member since 2010. Um, we were a few by those years. I'm a proud member. I love what Mobi it's like doing right now, or on how it started, the foundation, the history, and everything. It's a very interesting group, and was in need. Chile was in need of this type of associations. Before 2009, there was nothing like this. Only big wineries, very condensed, big properties, a lot of wine in big industries, big labels and everything. And for us, was very difficult to produce wine, to get access to bottles, corks, journalists, even yourself, importers. That was impossible. It was very impossible. And actually, we got together. We started like phoning people, says you need bottles, yeah, we need. Then we went to the bottle company. Okay, you know what, now it's not just me, it's them of us. Can we do something now? Okay. And that was uh 10 years ago.
Mhm.
And nowadays I always say that with Mobi, it's like this Facebook cliche sentence that we don't know what it is, but we started something very big after Mobi. Now, if you come to Chile, you're gonna see hundreds, thousands of different labels, different styles. different winemakers, different producers. I don't know, 10 years ago, if you go to a wine store or supermarket, you were gonna find the same labels everywhere. Now you have small shops with wines completely different than the wine stores, than the supermarkets. So it's a lot of variety, and I think that Mabi was very important in that sense, promoting for small producers to go for it, go and start producing your own wines, get together. Let's be a complement for the industry. We are not competing over here. We are. You said at first we are very small. We don't need to compete within us. We
Right.
need to be all together and promote Chile. That's a major thing. It's to promote Chile, the big companies, the small companies, the author companies, the natural guys, the everybody. It's a big boat that we all have to how to say to keep to put it on engine.
Yeah. Well, I will let you go. I want to thank you so much. You're a delight to talk to. I really
Thanks to
thank
you, Jeff.
to Beth and Eva and Steve and everybody is on here. You can say hi to them. They're working hard
Yeah, Eva,
for
Beth, and Jonathan also pretty good, nice guy.
on us on.
So
Thanks
yeah,
for them. And I'm just so flattered that you took the time to talk to me. I'm very excited to try your wine. And it's really been eye-opening that the whole South American wines that Regal carries has really been eye-opening for me. So thank you for introducing me to your wines. This has been a real
thanks
treat.
to you, Jeff. Yes, and take pretty good care over there. I don't know how your things are over there. Here it's like starting. It's very cold. Everybody's in quarantine. Today they're supposed to declare quarantine here in this area. We don't know what's going to happen yet,
Oh, shit.
but
So
yeah.
we're
So
out. So they're going
mhm.
to tell people not to stay home?
Yes, yes, yeah. Santiago is like doing that for already 1 or 2 weeks, and yeah. So for all the people over there, be safe. Over here,
Yeah,
we're all trying to also be safe. If you can stay, stay and drink a lot of wine. That's the idea.
bring a lot for the quarantine. You'll need that. But it's okay. Yeah.
Okay,
Thank you so much.
great.
Take care now.
Thanks to you, Jeff. Yeah, thanks to
Okay.
you, Jeff. Have a
Thank
nice
you.
evening. Bye bye.
Bye. I should have talked about